What up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of KMV True Stories. Today I'll be testing out my new tie mic, see if it works with all this traffic behind us. And this takes place 1997, my second season of basketball at Tehachapi, level 2. This story involves two individuals, Shitty D from Project Watts and the homie Shadow from 60s. Now, Shitty D was a shitty dude. He had a shitty mouth. He would disrespect anybody at any point in time. He did not bite his tongue for nobody. Shadow was kind of the same type of person, but Shadow was more passive. He'll sit back and analyze and just peep game instead of open up his mouth, but he was a no-nonsense type of guy. Now, Shadow was only like 5'8", maybe 5'9", right? He kept these cornrows, 6 braids to the back in his head, or he kept the plaid braids in his head. And he worked out every day. He would go to the weight pile and get his buff on. He had some nice chest, nice stomach. He had a little bit of back arms for a little guy. He had the hood blasting on him, tattooed up. Shitty was more of an out-of-shape dude. Shitty probably was 6 or 7 years older than me. He was tight with the homies, Mumpy and Moody and everybody. He was cool with the 60s because Project Watts got a lot of enemies like the 60s, so he was kind of cool with us. Plus, he was real tight with Moody. So Moody's the homie. I got a lot of love and respect for Moody, so if you're a friend of Moody's, you're probably a friend of mine, right? I'm going to embrace you like the homie embraces you. So it's basketball season, and Shitty is the official statistician. He keeps the score of the game. He got the clock. And he also keeps the statistics, the fouls, how many points you get, stuff like that, right? So we ran this like a real league, so he really kept stats. You remember from the last story, Shadow is a good player. He plays hard. He gives it his all on the basketball court, especially for a little guy. Shadow was a scorer. Shadow would always score points. Like some of us, we would have bad days. We would have days where we might only get 6 points, maybe even 4 points. But Shadow was always going to get 16 or better. Shadow was consistent. He was a scorer, period. So this particular game we're playing, Shadow's having a career day. He had a couple of career days. He was on a tear. He had like 3 straight games where he's busting over 30 points. But this is his best game by far. This is, like I said, probably a career game for Shadow. So Shadow, he's counting his points. He gets to like 20-something, and he stops counting. He's worried about the game now, but he's also worried about his performance. And he took it serious because he was a competitor. Actually, he was one of my spade partners at one point. And so Shadow was scoring like a mug, and there's a timeout. And Shitty D doesn't stop the clock. He's running the clock. So when the team is in a huddle, Shadow's like, because Shadow used to kind of talk like he was part essay sometime. Oh, this nigga here, he letting the clock run. The clock should be stopped. Shadow's worrying about his points now. He's making it an individual thing. And so we continue the game. It's a good game. And Shadow's upset because we lost the game. But he's happy because he scored a bunch of points. So Shadow's like, how many points did I have? I don't know, cuz. How many you think you had? I don't know. Probably about 32. I think he had about 36. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 38. I'm going to put him in the 30s. And he thought he was in the 30s somewhere, right? So when the game is over, we're walking back to the dorm. I'm the only homie that's walking with Shadow because the other homies, Shadow had felt some type of way about them. They felt some type of way about him. Shadow's the young homie. But the homies didn't like the fact that he was kind of scurvy, and the 60s ain't scurvy. 60s is rich rolling. At least that's our persona, right? That's our mantra. The homie Shadow, would go around picking up cigarettes or asking people, let me hit that. So he wanted to hit people's camels and shit and smoke buglers, and the homies felt some type of way about that. But I took a liking to Shadow because he was down. He was a real down homie. So I fucked with Shadow, right? And Shadow was really with the bullshit, but sometimes you never know a person's with the bullshit because you don't never see him in those situations. But I could just tell how the homie liked to exercise and get down, and the way he talked shit, and the way he used to get mad all the time and talk about he'll fuck somebody up. I believed him. Little dude though, but he was for real about his. Now Shitty used to talk a lot of shit. Shitty would say shit like, nigga, I'll cut your head off. Nigga, I'll cut your neck. Nigga, slice your wrist so I don't have to do it. Shitty would talk shit to dudes. And I seen Shitty get into it with some real solid dudes. I mean, for real. And Shitty talked a lot of shit. I mean, he could have been bluffing, who knows? Or he may have been like all of us when we was tougher when we was younger, right? But Shitty's the homie, and he disrespects everybody. That's what he does. He disrespects he treats everybody real shitty. And he got this look, he's good with facial expressions. So when he look at you, you feel like he's serious. Now you wondering, will this nigga really cut your neck off? Like, what type of tools he got in his locker to cut my neck off? So me and the homie Shadow is walking back to our building. Shitty D wraps up his stuff. He's walking back to the building too. We're all in the same building. We're housed in the same building. So Shadow says, hold up, let's wait on Shitty. So we stop. And Shitty D comes walking up. He says, hey, Shitty, how many points I have, cuz? And Shitty sarcastically said, oh, you didn't get nothing. And Shadow like, what? Nigga, how many points I get? Oh, you didn't have none. Shadow like, man, quit playing, man. I'm serious. How many points I get, cuz? Cuz, you ain't get shit. Now, Shadow's furious. Shitty D obviously has something on his mind because he appears serious too. This sarcasm seems very serious. And Shadow ain't having that shit. I looked at Shitty and I was like, man, just tell the homie how many points he had. And Shitty tells me, I'll let him know later. Like, he got an attitude with me too. I don't care if he tell him later, now, or never. But Shadow's upset. And I'm thinking to myself, Shitty, you tripping. This dude has a career day. You can see he's happy about his performance and sad that we lost the game. And you want to treat the brother like that? Man, just tell the brother how many points he got, man, and everything's good. But nah, Shitty couldn't do that. So we was upstairs. We in the building upstairs. So Shitty D hits the stairs. We hit the stairs right behind him. Shadow's right behind him, breathing down his neck. Cuz, I ain't gonna ask you no more. How many points did I have? And Shitty says, get away from me, cuz. Get away from me. So Shadow calls a shot. Shadow like, see me in the day room. Because that's where you get out, in the day room. Or behind some bunks. But Shadow say, see me in the day room. And Shitty ain't turning down no fade. But you can see in his face, he really don't want that fade, but they both about the same size. Shitty got probably a weight advantage, but I'm sure Shadow's probably stronger. And Shadow's more aggressive physically. So when they go in the day room, the Mexicans, they moving around like roaches. They think it's finna go down, it's finna be a riot. But when the homies go and explain, these two finna get down and we don't want nobody to see it. They didn't even want the brothers to see it. So everybody clear out the day room. There's nobody in the day room but Shadow and Shitty. Of course, I'll sneak back there and take a peek, right? To make sure they getting down. Because I don't hear no getting down. And boy, I look around that corner, I take a peek, and Shadow's firing on Shitty. And Shitty's just taking them. I'm like, damn, so I go on out. I tell the homie Moody, boy, it's bloody up in here. It's DNA everywhere. And he like, what? Who getting who? I'm like, you see when they come out. And they getting down for a little while. They getting down, man. probably a minute and a half. They got down for about a minute and a half. So now the homie Shadow comes walking out. And he like, cuz, get some towels, cuz, get some towels. So everybody grabbing towels and shit. When Shitty walks out the day room, you can see disgust all over his face. He was humiliated. He was sick. Shadow had put hands on the brother. And Shadow, like, you could look at Shadow, and Shadow actually looked like he felt sorry for Shitty. But they grab these towels and they go in the day room, they clean up all the DNA. Boy, it's bad. I mean, they need towels and sheets to get all that blood up. So they get it all up and everything, and Shitty lip all busted and swollen, nose all fucked up. So when Shitty comes walking past Shadow, Shadow say, cuz you should have told me how many points I had. Man, me and Moody fell out laughing, man. We wasn't laughing at the homie, but the way everything was so serious, and Shadow hit him with the truth, like, man, I was just asking how many points I had. But you want to go there and disrespect me and act like I'm some type of punk. But there was nothing after that. Everything was cool. Shitty said he didn't want no problem with the 60s. He didn't want to make it a gang thing. And he didn't want no rematch. And that's my story for today on KM Video True Stories. Y'all stay tuned for the next one.
Gangbang affiliate, it'll stick real quick, and in a minute start killing shit real quick.
I remember nights when they was on rules with Uzi and waiting.
I'm $1 million motherfucking nigga. I thought you knew about it. Now
It's West Side rolling 60 cup. Really?